Another motor vlog today. This one is a response to a video that Yammie Noob, yeah, I think he says Yammie Noob. Anyways, this is a response to a Yammie Noob video where Yammie came to the opinion that 600 Super Sports might actually be okay starter bikes. And since I just got an R6 and it's my first 600, I started on an R3. I kind of want to add in my 2 cents. At this point, basically, I kind of have a mixed opinion on it. Now that I've actually ridden a 600, I'm not sure if you absolutely have to start on a 300. Now, first of all, I want to say, if you want to start on a 300 or maybe even a 650, those are going to be fantastic starter bikes. You're going to learn a lot on them, and they're definitely going to be a good, safe, smart choice to start on. However, now that I've ridden the R6, I was kind of surprised that, like, if you don't want to have a shit ton of power, you can just kind of play with the RPMs, and if you keep the RPMs in the right range, it's really not that scary. Like, I'm doing, what, it's about 7K right now. If I give it just full throttle, that's not too bad right there. Like, that's probably about the same as my R3, like, when it's fully in the power band, when the R3 is up at like 10K. And so, you know, if you want on a 600, you can downshift, and it'll get real fast on you real quick. And that's one of the reasons that people say you shouldn't start on a 600, because if you give it that throttle twist and you're just like, whoa, yeah, if you're like that, you're gonna have a real bad day. And obviously, like I can kind of do that on purpose. I gotta set my camera on the windshield. I can do that on purpose, and you know, like, since I know what I'm doing, that's not going to get me into too much trouble. But as a newer rider, what could very easily happen, just because you haven't built up your instincts, you could as you get pulled back, you could easily pull more throttle and rev it even harder. And at that point, the bike's going to get away from you, and that's not good. That's you dropping a bike and landing on pavement, probably going to the hospital. So I honestly can't say that a 600 is as good of a starter bike as a 300. And the R6 would probably be one of the better 600s if you were going to go the 600 route, just because the low end power isn't that much. Most of the power is up top. I know the Gixxers have a more even power band, and especially like the 3 cylinders, like the Daytona, or I don't know, probably like the Ducatis or whatever. Because it's a 3 cylinder, they're just naturally going to have more low end power. So those are probably all pretty bad choices. But now, the downside to the R6 is that the R6 is a lot like the Daytona, where it has really aggressive, the ergonomics are really aggressive. I put lowered clip-ons on my R3 and lowered them like way down from where they were stock. And those clip-ons still sit probably 2 or 3 inches higher than where they are on the R6. I actually just sat on my R3 because I was taking pictures of it to sell it. And I sat down and I was like, whoa, these clip-ons are really high. And it was the first time I'd actually sat on it since I bought this bike. So even with the aggressive clip-ons that I put on there, it's actually, those clip-ons are actually still pretty high. So yeah, the ergonomics on here will be pretty aggressive, and that's going to make low speed maneuvers kind of tricky. You know, at speed, honestly, it's not that bad. The motorcycles are just always stable when you have them at full speed. By full speed, I mean like over 20 miles an hour. So I'm kind of at that point where I'm just not sure where my opinion is on whether or not you can start on a 600 Super Sport. I know that some of the Super Sports would definitely be bad, like the Daytona. But some of them that don't have a ton of low-end power, like the R6, I don't think that they'd be that bad. Now, if I remember right, when I was starting to ride, the power was never really an issue. I think what I found to be the hardest were the low-speed maneuvers. You know, like that parking lot speed stuff where you're doing like 7 miles an hour and you're trying to do a tight turn into a parking spot. That was where I almost dropped my R3 a couple times, especially in the first month. You know, and now that I've built up some skills, it's hard for me to say whether or not the ergonomics on this bike would be great for a beginner. Plus, the center of gravity is a bit higher. You really feel like you're sitting on top of the bike more so than in the bike. And the seat's definitely an inch or two taller than the R3. So I really don't know how I feel about people starting on 600s now. Before I ever rode a 600, I was pretty firmly in the camp that you should start on a 300 or a 500 or maybe even a 650. And now that I have the R6, I'm kind of not all that sure. Like, I don't know. And that's the thing though, I will never know what it is like to start on a 600 Super Sport, because I started on a 300. I can never go back in time and get on a 600 without any rider skills and experience what that's like to get on for the first time. I'll never know that. So I guess to finish it up, I'll just say I do think that getting a smaller bike is the best way to go. I don't think 600 Super Sports are as scary as some people made them out to be. I don't know. What do you guys think?